So without any further ado, I would introduce you to Emily and Sara, who will share their experience from the NDSS DSWORKS program. And then we will move on to Blake, and then from there to Heather to add their perspectives.
Great. Thank you so much, Andrew, and thank you for including the National Down Syndrome Society in today's program. Just a little bit of background on the National Down Syndrome Society. We were founded in 1979. We're getting ready to celebrate our 40th birthday coming up next year. And our mission is very similar to the mission of the United Nations. We are focused on being the leading advocate, the leading voice for the human rights of all individuals with Down syndrome. Today, we're very excited and honored to highlight our DSWORKS program, which was established in March of 2016. Through our DSWORKS program, we're really committed to showing the world that people with Down syndrome are ready, willing, and able to work. And you'll hear from my fellow panelists more on how we're bridging DSWORKS from Main Street to Wall Street and everywhere in between. And as we know, as an organization and as a community, we actually have a lot of work cut out for us when it comes to employment. Employment is not easy, and there's a lot of aspects that we must consider. The truth is today, World Down Syndrome Day is not just about Down syndrome. It's not just about disabilities. It's not just to celebrate the achievements of our community. The tireless advocacy that's happening around the globe, the employment opportunities, the buddy walks, the races, the fundraisers, the partnerships, and the photo shoots. Today, within the walls of the United Nations, we are gathering here on World Down Syndrome Day to challenge the norm. It's about challenging a century's worth of discriminatory laws that hold individuals with Down syndrome back. It's about allowing individuals with Down syndrome to plan for their future, to go to school, to get married, to start businesses, to have equal access to health care, and here to achieve the American dream, or any dream for that matter. Last fall, thanks to the hard work of so many advocates from across the United States, many that are in this room. I see John Cronin in the back, Blake down here, Heather, Mark. We launched a new campaign at NDSS, Law Syndrome. The premise of Law Syndrome is that Down syndrome does not stop or define people with Down syndrome. Here in the United States, it's truly the law that holds them back. At NDSS, we're focused on ending Law Syndrome. And through our DSWORKS employment program, you'll hear from Emily, Heather, and Blake just how we're doing that. So it's an honor to be here, and it's an honor to turn this back over to my colleague, Emily.
Thank you so much, Sara. I appreciate that warm welcome. Again, my name is Emily Kaczmarczyk, and I am the DSWORKS Program Manager, and it truly is an honor to be here today. As Sara mentioned, our DSWORKS program was launched in 2016 really as an initiative, and as our Law Syndrome campaign was launched last October, we really turned it to more of a program. So our program for DSWORKS has 4 pillars. The first one being our employment resources, our training and career placement, Law Syndrome, which is our legislative platform, and employer partnerships. It has become really a focus for us at NDSS to create opportunities for our self-advocates and throughout our communities. We have a grassroots effort across the country to involve all of our communities and help them find jobs that are meaningful to them. We help at NDSS, we will help with training, we will help with creating opportunities through our strategic partners from Main Street to Wall Street. And we will also provide training, what we'd like to call at NDSS customized employment. So what we do is provide the guide and the pathway to the employer and to the employee. Perfect. Thank you, Helen. In addition to that, we will help the employee find meaningful employment through our job portals. Thank you. And so what we do is we create the jobs, we distribute the jobs through our social media outlets, and allow these employees the opportunity to have an interview with us, and as well as have an interview with the employer. The question we get a lot from employers is, how do I interview a person with Down syndrome? It's the same way you interview anybody else. It's the same pathway through HR. It's the same background checks through any company. It's the same process. And so it really has become a norm for us to get a lot of emails and calls and saying, I want to hire somebody with Down syndrome. And this really brings me to the second and third pillar of our program. It was our legislative campaign, End Law Syndrome. And so this is our big ask that we do on Capitol Hill. This is what we're working so for, to have equal rights for all of our individuals. A huge part of our success with all of this is our employer partnerships. We work a lot with major corporations as well as small Main Street businesses. What we do here is provide them support, and they provide us, our sponsors, to create opportunities within their organization, as well as to create opportunities for employment within their organizations. My dear friend Heather Lavallee is here from Voya today, and Voya has been influential within their own culture to create opportunities for individuals with intellectual disabilities, as well as create opportunities at the National Down Syndrome Society. We'll have a little bit of video later in the program, but back in the fall, we launched our C21, which was a pop-up restaurant in Washington, D.C., with over 250 guests. Everything from the hostess stand, the servers, the wait staff were all self-advocates. Not a crumb was dropped, not a plate was shattered. Everything went beautifully. Blake was a server that night. And thanks to Voya, we are able to now take our C21 dinners on the road. So we will be having 3 different events this year here in the United States. And we're very, very excited to kind of spread that word that individuals with Down syndrome are ready, willing, and able to work. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to my dear friend Blake, Pyron, and Marianne. They have been incredible friends and incredible advocates, not only for themselves, but as far on behalf of the National Down Syndrome Society. And I am so grateful that they're here today.
Happy World Down Syndrome Day, y'all. Right, Blake?
Yeah.
Yes. We're so humbled and honored to be here with so many amazing leaders from our community. And the work of the National Down Syndrome Society is one of no other. I mean, they have brought Blake's Snow Shack to a global level, and that would have never happened without them. We always said society would say Blake shouldn't have a job, and for sure not own his own business, right?
Yes.
But our family, we said, why not? We feel like the time for change is now. We want employers to have a true, diverse workforce, and we'll no longer stand on the sidelines and allow people to discriminate against our Blake and others with Down syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a video to show you a little bit about our video. I'm Marianne Pyron. I'm Blake's mom.
Blake Pyron.
And this is Blake's Snow Shack.
Snow Shack.
We started a snow cone business because it's hot in Texas. Blake loves the community. He wants to be downtown.
everyone either knows Blake or Blake knows them.
As soon as I heard about it, I wanted to work for Blake.
Blake has always been full of life. You can't see him and not smile.
And after getting to know Blake, I just knew that he needed to be a part of our football team, so we made the decision to make him one of our captains. You know, one of the main things he does is he leads us out through a run-through sign on Friday nights, and he just helps create enthusiasm for our football games.
Growing up, Blake looked up to his older brother, Mitchell. I always wanted to be like him, do everything he did. He wanted to earn money like Mitchell did.
We saw a problem, our son needed a job, so we pulled together with our community and made it happen. What do we serve at Snow Shack? Snow cones?
Hot cone.
Pickles?
Hot cone.
And a lot of fun, huh?
Yeah.
Do we have fun?
Yeah.
Do you like being the boss?
Yeah.
He's tough, but he's fair, and he keeps us on our heels.
NASCAR was an unbelievable experience. Seeing Blake's logo featured on the Lavallee family racing car, it's something we never imagined. There was a time in Blake's life that I worried that he may never have friends, and he actually has more friends than anyone I know.
He always gives me a hug every time I see him, so that lifts my spirits, and I think it does the same thing for everyone on our football team and throughout this whole town for that matter.
You know, society would say Blake shouldn't have a job, and for sure shouldn't own his own business. We say, why not? Blake has taught us a lot about life, and I think he's done that with a lot of people in our community. Say thank you. Say thank you.
I do.
There we go. Good afternoon, folks. My name is Heather Lavallee. I am a executive leader within Voya Financial. We're a U.S.-based financial services organization, and our focus is on securing a financial future, one person, one family, one institution at a time. And we realized about 2 years ago that with our vision to be America's retirement company, we were missing a huge segment of the population. So we expanded our vision. And you can see here on the screen, our focus is to serve all Americans, inclusive of those with disabilities and their caregivers. And this program started, see if I can get this, there we go. So as was addressed by one of the speakers earlier from the United Kingdom, our focus started at the top. Our CEO and chairman said that we feel as though this is not just good business, this is the right thing to do to stand up for all Americans. And so he started this initiative really from the top down, and it's a focus on how can we be a leader in making a positive difference in the lives of those with disabilities. And so what we didn't want to just focus our efforts on how we serve our customers. We also wanted to focus on our employment and within our own organization. So thanks to the partnership with NDSS, we have just hired our first individual with Down syndrome. He's working locally in our Connecticut office. Today is his second day on the job. Just started on Monday, so we're very, very excited to have Jamie on board. We've also done some work with some reverse partnerships through a U.S. organization, USBLN, where we have done reverse mentorships, where we have college students with intellectual disabilities that are mentoring several of our leaders on what it's like to live with disabilities and how to find employment, and then in turn, our leaders will talk to them about employment within corporate America. And the other thing we've also done is working within our recruiters and managers to help understand, and as Emily touched on, we need help. We knew we wanted to hire and expand our recruiting to include people with intellectual disabilities, but we didn't necessarily know where to start. And I would just share naively, when I'm the executive sponsor of our program, and 2 years ago I didn't know as much about it. And I said, how do we find jobs for individuals with intellectual disabilities? And as I was aptly pointed out, you don't. You just have jobs, and you expand your candidate pool, and you look for people with the right interests and the right skills. So this is something we've been very excited about. And then as Emily touched on, we really share a common vision with our partners at NDSS. And so it's not just around how do we help with the employment, but how do we help use our voice here in the United States to help promote and push and change these outdated laws. So as Emily mentioned, we are excited to partner on the expansion of the C21 programs and really use all of our voices across the United States to be able to help and advance the cause of those with intellectual disabilities.